Hi, my name is Jade Rivera, and this is my video critique project for LA337, Designed for a Sustainable World. So, one specific place that I found myself spending a lot of time in recently was the courtyard of my residence hall. This is a recreational space, and the center of the courtyard is a flat lawn of grass, and encompassing it is a concrete sidewalk that has chairs, tables, and benches. Various species of trees and foliage grow throughout the area, and there's even some curved gravel paths near the exits that really resemble hiking trails in the forest. So, with that short description of this place, I'm going to further explain why I chose to write about it, more specifically, how being in it positively impacted me and my fellow peers. The main factor of this is the mere appearance of it because it intends to imitate real nature through its man made biodiversity. Studies through neurosciences, behaviors, and perceptions revealed that natural landscapes gave a stronger positive health effect compared to urban landscapes. And according to a biophilia research article by Nava, we have descended from the people who looked to nature for their survival. So our brains still carry these inherited features, which unconsciously interpret unnatural environments as a sign of insecurity, which can cause us stressful reactions. And this courtyard also gets direct vitamin D from the sun, which, according to Psychology Today, lowers one kind of inflammation, which has been linked to suicide. It's also where community events are held for the residents in our specific complex, including community, where our residents' assistants give out free cookies and tea, and puppy playtime, where staff members would bring their dogs into the courtyard for students to play and run around with. So, this is one of the main places that gives me a sense of normalcy from pre COVID life, like where we could actually go outside and enjoy the company of other people freely. As for the sustainability of the site, nothing in it depletes waste as it doesn't produce anything. The products in this space can be considered sustainable since the chairs, for example, are made of metal, which according to Steel Framing Alliance is not only environmentally conscious, but economically strategic in its inherent longevity and durability. The site also uses a lot of concrete, which is a raw material. However, the cement industry is the third largest carbon dioxide emitter in the world, with up to 2.8 billion tons, according to Jonathan Watts in an article in The Guardian. Also, I was unable to find an exact source that explained the construction process of the site, so I'm not 100% sure about where these materials came from or how they were made or transported. But I'm going to assume that they were neither ethnically made nor transported within a zero carbon emission process, as that would be the more expensive option. And speaking of carbon emissions, let's talk about how this site impacts the climate and how mowing, fertilization, and irrigation are the main negative impacts from this site. Stemming from a research study of calculating carbon footprints by the United States Department of Agriculture, Ted Redman, in a Pale Blue Dot article, states that roughly 9/10 of a gallon of gas is consumed to mow an average lawn, and an average lawn being 6/10 of an acre, which produces 17.6 pounds of greenhouse gas. So I took this logic to find the amount of gas that this courtyard needs per mow, and from that, how many pounds of greenhouse gas the process emits, which turned out to be 2 pounds of greenhouse gas per mow and 64 pounds of CO2 produced annually, with the average mow season being 32 weeks. In a study by Christine Melsey of NASA, the carbon emissions associated with residential lawn fertilizers averages to about 195 pounds of greenhouse gas per acre, and a study by Zhang identified the footprint of pesticides at 104 pounds per acre. So for this courtyard, just the yard, not including the surrounding foliage, the chemicals used account for about 16 pounds of greenhouse gas and 8 pounds of pesticides annually. The foliage lining the yard was a little too tricky to determine, as I don't know the acidity or alkalinity of the soil, nor the specific plants and their water needs, and that made it extremely difficult to exactly pinpoint the amount of fertilizer that they needed. And for irrigation, the yard contained no sprinklers, and I couldn't find an exact schedule for how often it and the other plants in the area were watered. But according to the EPA, the average American household uses 35,000 gallons of water for exterior irrigation annually for an irrigation carbon footprint of 306 pounds of CO2, which I am only assuming can be applied to this site as well. The main thing that requires energy in this area are the lights that illuminate the sidewalks at night. I am unsure whether their source of energy is renewable or not, but it is still an unnecessary